A European Union forum on the Indo-Pacific region has been overshadowed by the threat of war in Ukraine. EU foreign ministers are calling for clear and strong sanctions against Russia. France has already announced that it will put appropriate and targeted sanctions against Russian interests. And Ross Cullen joins us live now for more on this. Ross, what's happening in Ukraine has rather overshadowed this EU forum on the Indo-Pacific region.
Yes, completely, Dawn. I've just stepped out of the news conference here at the French Foreign Ministry in central Paris, and they have just concluded a news conference where they tried to focus on the Indo-Pacific Forum, but it's been totally overshadowed by events in Ukraine and Russia. This morning, as the foreign ministers from the European Union and foreign ministers from the Indian and Pacific Ocean regions turned up for the event, they were peppered with questions about Ukraine and Russia. The French foreign minister at 8 o'clock in the morning, French time, tried to get out ahead of this and say that we completely condemn Russia for its violation of international law, for its violation of Ukraine's sovereignty, and we will be announcing a package of sanctions this afternoon. They did try to focus on the Indo-Pacific Forum with discussions for several hours with ministers from that region this morning, but they have just had that news conference where the questions have all come back to Ukraine and Russia, and they have tried to reassure partners in the region that the European Union will be united on its response, particularly when we do see the perhaps a path towards some meeting in the United Nations Security Council. India was represented here with the Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar speaking earlier in the plenary session. It's currently a member on the United Nations Security Council. So they were trying to focus on the Indo-Pacific Summit, but as you mentioned, Dawn, completely overshadowed by events in Ukraine and Russia.
So they managed to have several hours of discussions nonetheless. Ross, what have EU leaders said about the bloc strategy for the Indo-Pacific?
They did manage to have roundtable sessions on digital connectivity and the digital transition, on global challenges like the pandemic and the climate emergency, and also on security. There was a major elephant in the room in that China was not present at these talks, but that's certainly the policy of the European Union and Indian and Pacific Ocean nations towards China as one of the main talking points at the discussions this morning. And we heard from the French foreign minister who said, our agenda is not anti-Chinese. We are not looking for anti-Chinese policies. We are not pursuing an anti-Chinese agenda. We are engaging in positive, open talks with Indian and Pacific Ocean partners about education, investment, fighting the climate emergency, trying to prevent further loss of biodiversity, supporting each other in transport and in digital transitions, trying to ensure that we keep up our trade with the region. And it is worth noting why it was held here in France. France is not only the current president of the European Union, a rotating position every 6 months, Dawn, but France also the major European presence in the Pacific and Indian Oceans. 1.7 million French citizens live there. 7,000 French soldiers are stationed there. France is the world's second largest exclusive economic zone because of its territories scattered across the world's oceans. So a major presence in the region, trying to reassure the Indian and Pacific Ocean partners that France is a reliable partner when it comes to all different sectors, and the European Union more broadly as well. So they did have discussions about how to increase cooperation, how to deepen investment, but they did often circle back to this issue of Ukraine and Russia, which will be further addressed by the 27 European Union foreign ministers later this afternoon.
Ross, thank you for that update. Ross Cullen there in Paris.